I don't want to hear myself all day. Can imagine. Okay, so we're going to try water droplets again. So I'm going to start by lightly drawing a circle, or it can be kind of a oblong. It doesn't even need to be exact, different shapes or different sizes. And if I look at this background, I know it's wet on wet. And I did wet paint on wet paper because I want this paint to bleed. And I picked colors that if they bled together, they're not going to be ugly. So this one I did obviously a red and a pink, because if it bleeds together it kind of makes an orange. But so again, like we did before, I still have some of that pink mix from the first thing we did, or one of the things we did today. So over in another section I'm going to make a puddle of yellow. So and I don't care what yellow it is. It's really the first one, but I'll probably add some of the other because my first one's kind of green right now. Doesn't really matter as long as it's a color that'll mix well. So I have two little puddles, and one's pink and one is yellow. So what I want to do first is I want to again go around my circles with water, not paint, and I'm going to do this fairly quickly. So I'm going to wet my paint brush, squeeze my brush enough that I'm going to let water come out, and I'm holding this up so I can see where my drawing is, and squeeze my brush, let it flow out to where I want my paper shiny, but I don't want my dots shiny. So you paint up to your water droplets.
Did you fill in all between them?
I'm going all the way around. So I'm going fairly quick. Like, oops, like I actually hit that one a little bit, so I might have some ease, on there, but I'm trying to go up to the line but not cross the line. And it's kind of hard when I pick it up and hold it. This is where it'd be better if it was on a board, because when I'm holding it like this, the paper bends. But that's another reason why those boards are helpful. So here we go. Mine's wet, and I'm going to start with my lightest color. I'm just going to throw in some pink. Hello. What color is that? Yellow. And I'm going to drag some of that over here. If I accidentally get it in one of these, I can lift it off. I'm going to, whoops, see, I'm not paying attention. I'm going to drop some other here. I'm just trying to randomly give some color to my paper, and if it's not bleeding, see, like that's a hard edge, and my paper's not wet enough. So I've got to come back and add more water. I want it to be wet. If I get something inside the circle, I can just lift it out. But if I want some darker things, I added a little dark. I grabbed purple instead of pink. Okay, that could be good, that could be bad, because what's opposite of purple? Yellow. So if I accidentally...
You'll get gray?
I might get mud. But I'm just smearing it around, trying to stretch it out. Because again, I was in a hurry grabbing a color, and I went for the fourth one over, or the fifth one over, instead of the third one over. So I got a little purple in there, but since I got a little purple there, I'll add a little purple over here, just so that that's not the only place it is on my painting. Again, this is a fairly wet application, and I'm going to come back, and I would leave some white.
Even on the back, not up to the borders, you mean even in the center of the background, center of the page?
I mean, you can. I mean, it's,
Well,
I've got paint almost everywhere now. See, look at this one. See, this one's almost yellow all the way around. That's kind of boring. So I'm going to take some of this pink, because I know if I mix the pink with the yellow. It's not going to be brown. It's going to make more of an orange. So I wanted to vary that a little bit. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to just let that dry. Have kind of a halo around this purple one where it was really heavy. Lift some of that off. And honestly, it doesn't have to be wet on wet background. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, sometimes you can get some great pictures of leaves in the morning with a dew on the leaf. Just a little puddle of dew. And so you'll have a leaf background with your, this is just to show a general view. I've done it on an autumn leaf. There was a dewdrop on an autumn leaf, and did it that way. No, you don't have to. I accidentally grabbed purple. That's the one. That's the one I went to. The wrong one that I picked up.
Does your paper curl up when you're working on it?
Yeah. See it bow.
Oh, okay. I just couldn't tell from.
That's again if you just tape it to the surface.
Well, that's what you're talking about on the board. You should
Right.
tape it down.
And it could be just 2 rolls of paper.
You can clip it.
Or
like
clip
this.
it. Yeah, that'd be okay as long as it doesn't dent too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be careful with that.
But I mean, just whatever you figure out what works for you. But I want that to dry because if I painted, well, it's drying pretty fast actually. Hurry up. I'll just fan it a little bit. So, if you're watching the video, just forward this. Because I don't want to stop it. Because if I stop it, then I have to download a different video. And I don't know how long these last. They just start over. So that's why I really like doing it on my
Camera.
my netbook records.
How long it is.
And I haven't tried Facebook Live. Facebook Live would allow you to comment and anybody to watch while I'm doing it. But it would already be there. I wouldn't have to download it. So that's tempting.
I think he does that.
I don't know that yeah. So one of these days, well, if I just make an idiot of myself anyway.
Actually, you would do your Facebook Live like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be my face. Facebook Live, I'm not there. So, okay, my shadow, or my shiny is really going away. Okay, so while y'all's are drying, I just want you to watch how I paint the rest of this. And I'll do it just a second when Sharmila comes back, because it's almost dry. Yeah. Okay, so mine's about dry. Yay. So y'all put your brushes down. See, it's like the teacher and me. Put your brushes down, children. All right. So right now, if I look at this, I know that the light is coming from the bottom and shining through. So before you paint anything, you got to decide, where is my light source coming from? If my light is coming from, if it's easier for me to think of it coming from above, then turn it around. Whatever is easier for you. But I want you to note that the side of the bubble that has the light source coming in is the darkest interior part of the bubble. The light then goes through the water, diffuses, and lights up the other side. So if you remember that, if you know that if I put light in here, I have to have enough dark in that bubble that I can see that light. And I remember it's going to diffuse whatever color. It's also going to reflect whatever's around it. So if I have some yellow around it, I want a little yellow in my dot. If I have only yellow, then pretty much only yellow. But again, there's not a lot of yellow here, but I wanted it a little different than what was here. So it was on the page, so it was free game. Now, I'm not worried about the shadows right now. All I'm talking about is the inside. Now, on the video, I saved the white where we painted around where the light came in. It was really harsh. And then we did another one where we just lifted a little bit or we used the pen. So I'm going to just do it that way because I liked it better. So
Way saving?
not saving the light. But you can try it both ways. But I'll show you two different things to do. So what I'm doing here, again, I want, let's see, yeah, I'm going to wet my circle. So I don't want y'all painting, I just want you watching. All right, I'm going to wet my circle. So my circle's wet. I already have the colors that I used. I want my light coming from the top. So I want it darker up here. Oh, that's pretty dark. Might be a little too of that one. Okay, I'm going to change that color a little bit. All right, so I want that pretty thick. And I want it coming in and getting lighter and maybe picking up a little bit of the pink down here, but it's lighter. Okay, does that make sense? Picking up a little bit of color. It's down here. So it's darker up here. It's more solid. And I can pull a little bit of that off because that was pretty dark. And right now it might look a little funny. But think of this as more solid. This is lighter. It's just a little more vibrant. So I'm going to wet my circle. This one will be easier to see because it's a darker color. So I'm going to wet my circle. Don't try to wet anything beyond that. Because I accidentally did purple here, I do want to bring some of the purple in. So this is going to be darker. I want it darker than the outside. And I want it to fade out because that's where the light, again, diffuses away. I'm running into trouble because this is a complement. So I add just a little yellow there. So I'm going to do the last one. Y'all have seen this twice, so go ahead and start painting yours.
Hello. Okay. Yeah. That's okay. I can talk, right? Yeah.
You know, the side, again, the side where the light comes in needs to be more colorful or darker. And part of it is you can adjust what's in the background to make up for that. So if the light's from the top, the bubble's a little darker or more intense color where the light's coming in.
Oh, we're supposed to wet our bubble first, right?
Wet your bubble first. That sounds funny. Wet your bubble first. Okay, and I'm going to start fanning mine so it'll start drying. Okay, mine is pretty dry because I didn't do it very wet. I'm going to go ahead and do the shadow real quick so that I can stop the video. So if y'all stop, once you finish the bubble you're on, look up and don't start another one, and I'll do the shadow real quick. Okay, 2 of my bubbles are dry, so I'm going to go ahead and start that. When I do a shadow, I want to use a color that I already have on my painting, and a lot of times I'll just use complements. I already have 2 complements here, yellow and purple. So if I add yellow and purple together, which because they're already there, my shadow is not going to be any wider than my bubble. So I'm going to start at the very edge, come down, and create kind of a smile up underneath that bubble.
What are you making this shadow out of?
Complements.
Complement.
Or something else. I mean, it could be, like I could use an orange on here because I made an orange with the pink. And I'm not making them real dark. I tried on some of the others, and if you make them real dark, they don't read right. And I'll show you some examples of some that I think that are too dark. But I'm just casting a shadow. Think of it as a smile, just as white. Now this one doesn't show very much, so I'm going to come in and add a little purple to it because I do want the shadow to show. But you see how it just adding it a little bit more. And then what I want to do is create that highlight. So I'm going to go to my pens. I'm going to pick the more opaque one. I don't know if you have this one or not.
To order that one. Will you pass it around again so we can photograph that pen?
Sure.
When we're done.
Yep. So make sure you've got the paint coming out of it. You know, you do that, you prime it by pressing down. Oh, there you go, pressing down on the tip to make sure it's coming out. And I'm just going to put a bit of white. Now, it doesn't show up as much on the white one, I mean on the yellow one because it's a light color. And you can have it, you know, 2 little dots, 1 little dot. I'm going to put little 2, just to pretend like there's parts of a window that are something shining through. And I'll pass this around so once you're, you know, if your watercolor is dry, then you can use this too. Another thing, if you do something and you go, ooh, you know, it really look cute if there was a water droplet here, you can, like right here, say, ooh, I want a little bitty one right there. Well, then you just wet your paper. Wet your paper, lift it off. You don't want to scrub your paper, but you can lift a lot of it. So if I want to add it here, that's a little too dark. You can always add them after the fact, but you know, it doesn't. It's not always as easy to lift off. And you won't have it quite as clean on the inside. And then when that's dry, it's not really dry. Ooh, see, it's not dry, so there goes the paint. So don't do that. Let it dry and then come back and put the highlight on it. Okay? So there's water droplets. And it's a lot of fun.